Hi, thank you for joining us here at Coleman Events. Our artist today, Heather, is going to take you through how to make this your very own masterpiece. Before we begin, go ahead and take everything out of your paint kit. You want to make sure that there is some water in your cup. You want to put on that apron that we've provided for you because we are using acrylic paint and it tends to dry very permanent and very fast, and it will stain your clothing. After that, you want to go ahead and open up the paint pots very slowly. You're going to hold the base with your right hand and open the left flap with your left hand. So go ahead and pause the video and go and do that. Welcome back. We're going to get started. Heather, take it away.
Hi guys, thanks for joining me. We are going to paint this fun little Grinch hand holding a Christmas ball. Very 'tis the season. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to dip my larger brush that we provided into the water just to get the brush wet a little bit and load it up with some green paint. And we're going to go right on in to his hand. Just give his hand a base coat of green. Just going to follow the outline that we provided. Try and stay in the lines a little bit. If you go out of the lines, it's okay. We can come back, fix it. It's paint, not a huge deal. Very, very, very forgiving. Like a lot of other things going on in today's world. Paint, forgiving, we can come back, correct our mistakes soon as it dries. Want to make sure you're putting on a layer of paint that is thin so that it does dry in a timely manner for you to create all the different layers in your painting. All right, so you can see that this green is a little bit thin. So we're going to need a couple coats for this Grinch hand, which is fine. And let that layer dry. Rinse the green out in our brush. And we come down here to Christmas bulb, and we'll go ahead and add some color to that. You can make yours any color that you'd like. I'm going to stick with the red, maybe add some gold accents a little later on. I'm going to load my brush up with the red color, big brush still. I rinsed all of that green out. Come right in and trace the outline of the ball. This is a circle. It's hard to draw a circle, so don't worry if it's not perfect. That's what art is. All of our greatest imperfections on canvas. Imperfections give the eye lots to look at, critique. Don't worry about shape of your Christmas ball, but definitely if the shape's bothering you and you want to round out the edges or curve this little line a little bit more, definitely do what speaks to you. I'm gonna leave that little shine area white so that we can come back and add some white to that. You're gonna see brush strokes, it's okay. This is the first layer of our painting. So you're gonna see a lot of brush strokes. You're probably gonna see some of the canvas popping through still. While I have red on my brush, I'm gonna go in and paint the sleeve of the Grinch. It's the same red. And just real quick, add a thin coat of red paint there. There's no rhyme or reason to what we're doing. Just add in our first layer. Okay, I'm gonna rinse the red out. Real good. While we're waiting for our Grinch hand and all of our red areas to dry on our canvas. Let's start in on the background. There's a lot of area to cover. And in the original, the background is black, so we can certainly start with black. I'm going to start up in the corner here with some black. Let's kind of do the corner. Bring some black in that corner. And do black at this corner. And certainly if you want to do your whole canvas black, just like the picture that you picked out, that's fine. But I like to have fun with color, so I'm going to add some color in here, see how it turns out, experiment with the background just a little bit. And give you guys an opportunity to experiment too. But certainly if you want the simple, basic black background, go for it. What I'm doing here is I'm just kind of darkening the corners of my canvas with the black, almost so that it kind of gives like a frame, an oval frame to what we have going on in the middle of our canvas. I'm gonna blacken it in up here behind the arm. All right. And while that's wet, I'm going to go right in with a next color that I think we should have. And I'm going to pick a little bit of blue to kind of make that black pop. It's a contrasting color. I'm going to go right on in, right where it is, and kind of blend it in there just a little. You can see where the black and the blue are blending together. It gives us a different color. I'm going to repeat that same motion down here. Just everywhere, I think. Be some blue. Really have fun with the background. No wrong way to fill your background in. You can color it whatever color you like. I'm just experimenting with the colors we have on our palette today. Thought it would be a little bit better, a little more fun than just doing all black. Got some blue coming in to our background, giving it some texture, different added colors. It's fun to mix right on your canvas just to see what colors are possible. Sometimes when you put a color over another color, it's a completely different color, even though they didn't mix. And if they're dry on the canvas and they just layer on top of each other, there's a whole different effect. Don't be shy. Grab a color and experiment on your canvas. And I even think maybe I'll add in some red here and there. And as you see, when we are on the canvas, our red mixed in with our blue is turning a purple. You can just see how magically that all works together on the canvas. Blending color on top of color. And this is just our bottom layer, so definitely have fun, experiment. If you don't like something on this layer, You can turn right around, paint over it once it dries. You won't even know it's there. Very forgiving layer. See how the red on my paintbrush turned into blue purple just by blending with the blue that we had on there previously. I got some blue, some reds going on, making purple. Kind of a nice contrast for all of these colors is the purple. I'll really liven it up on our next couple layers. Let's go ahead and put in some color in your background. Anywhere you think color should go. And like we said before, if you wanted to keep the background, the black, you certainly could. But this would be fun just to show you what you can do with paint, even if it is just 4 or 5 colors. Make it all kinds of interesting for the eye to look at. That's what you'd like when your viewer, you've done your masterpiece, somebody to take a look and really notice all the different colors and layers, all the hard work that you might have put into it. Hard work could be other work, meaning fun, because I know I'm having fun and I hope you are too. Just mix in some color here. And I'm just gonna go real loose around the shape that I have for my hand. We're gonna clean all of these edges up later, so don't worry if they're not perfect. You get the blue or the red, black on the green, we can cover it up later, don't worry. Yeah, we got some cool color happening on this canvas here. We got the blue and the red mixing in together, making this cool purple. Don't worry about the line. You cover any lines up that you still need for a guide. I'll do my best to bring all of those lines back into our top layer for you. All right, so we got pretty good bottom layer going. And while we have this color going on our brush, kind of like a purpley bluish color, I'm going to take some of this color and go right in and make a shadow on our Christmas ball. Going right around the edge. Blending it in with the red a little bit. And do that all the way around. And I think I'm going to bring in some more red paint, just kind of give that Christmas ball a second coat while that shadow color is still wet. kind of blending them in, layering them. And this painting a little bit of an artsy feel. And make sure we get a good coverage of the red with the ball. Probably have to come back in with another coat. And just wait for that to dry. You can slowly start to see how the paint is starting to really cover the canvas. While you have the red, also going to give that sleeve another coat of red, just so that we have a little bit more coverage over here. You can see that second coat kind of helps with your brush strokes and kind of make them disappear. And I think I'm going to come in with another coat of green. Just a basic green up here on the Grinch hand. Kind of clean up my lines a little bit. One more base coat of green before we start adding in some texture and shading to his hands. I know we went really fast with this bottom base color, but if you have any questions, you need to pause the video at any point, definitely do that. Get comfortable with where you are with your painting and then hit resume. And you can get back to showing you how to make this little guy come to life. All right, so we got a second coat of this green on this Grinch hand here. And I think the back layer is pretty dry. I'm just gonna come in and have some fun with some more color and make it pop. I don't know about you, but I really like how this blue is contrasting with this green up here. So I'm gonna give that a little bit more blue. You can make this whatever color you want. And I will come in with some more black, kind of up here in the corners, just to give it a little bit more rich depth color. I'm gonna dry brush, meaning I have a little bit of paint on my brush, hardly no water, and I'm gonna blend that color into the blue. So I just blended the black into the blue using a dry brush effect. I'm gonna do the same thing down here. So I have all my black on my brush. I'm not going to reload as it runs out of paint. Just kind of squiggle the brush around, and whatever's left on the brush of the black paint will kind of just land wherever it wants. Do the same this corner, kind of darken up our black in that corner. And there's no right or wrong way to do this background, so please definitely get lost in the background, play around with color palette, whatever speaks to you, whatever colors pop out on your canvas, let them come alive. I'm gonna pop around different places on my canvas and add some more color. Blend in the color right on the canvas. We'll just color it in all of our background area. With some fun color variations. With blues and purples and reds. An element of design when you're painting your creations, the first thing that they tell you is repetition. So you want to repeat shapes and colors when designing your masterpiece so that your eye wanders all over the painting, following one color to the next color, back to the original color. I'm going to give these colors a little time to dry. We can go in and experiment a little bit more, make it a little bit more fun back there. While we're waiting for them to dry, let's go ahead and start in on our Grinch shadowing of the hand. So what we'd like to do is mix a different color on our palette. We're going to take a little bit of the green that we have and then pull that out to a little area of its own on the palette. And we're going to mix in just a little bit of black, not a lot. If you find that you have no green and it's all black, just keep adding green until you get a nice olivey, darker green color that you can use for the shadow on your Grinch hand. So the shadow is going to be on areas that wouldn't normally get some light. Shadow also is good for showing that things are behind something. So the area that doesn't exactly get all the light is going to be your shadow area. I think I got a good green mixed up. If you don't like your green, once you get it on the canvas, we can always change it. No worries, this might be a little dark. Oh, gross. That'll work. So I'm just going to lay in some shadow right where I think shadow should live. So right on here on this wrist line, underneath of his arm. Just going to kind of draw my shadow all around the outside of its finger. And this isn't going to be perfect either. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just getting some color that we're going to later come back and fiddle with. I want to show that the Grinch fingers aren't flat. They're rounded. So everything bending away from the front of the canvas is going to have some sort of shadow. Don't worry if you get any of the color in an area that you don't want it. This is only the beginning of your painting. Plenty of room for corrections later on. All right, so you see how our Grinch hand's starting to kind of take a interesting shape and tone and effect. So got some shadow going on. I'm gonna take the same green. I'm gonna mix it with a little white. Make a lighter green. Now you only need a little bit of green and white. That'll go a long way. I just wanted a tad shade lighter than the green we were originally using, the base color of our hand. And then you can go in and give your hand some highlights as well. There will be a highlight there. Highlight at the top of this finger, top of that finger, here. Not so much on this one, but just a little bit. Come down with a highlight here. You can see starting to come in shape. It's all very crude coloring right now. Not worrying about blending it at this point. We're just adding some shapes and colors into it. I'm going to rinse my brush. Really good. While we're waiting for that green part to dry, I'm going to start by coming in with some white, and I'm going to paint the white area around his sleeve. The white acts like an eraser on the canvas, so you can really clean up any edges that you have going on here. And this white is kind of like poofy and fluffy. I'm just going to dab my brush just to make a little bit of a texture to kind of imitate that sienna fur we see on his coat. I got that in. And while we're here, I'm going to add just a little bit of tiniest bit of blue to my brush so that I can see some shadow going into this white area. Just a little bit. It's okay if you mess up just like I did. I'm going to fix that and show you how. If you mess up, just wait for that to dry. So while we're waiting for that top part to dry, we're going to come down to going around our Christmas ball here. I'm going to make this maybe have some little bit of oomph to it. Kind of looks a little drab in the original. Maybe we're going to make it shine, look a little shiny. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take my brush in the red. I'm just going to go right around the outline outside of this Christmas ball here, making it a little bit wider than the original shape. Just adding a very thin coat of red all the way around the ball. And while that's still wet, I'm going to come in with some white. Go right over where we just drew our line for around the Christmas ball. Now this gets a little tricky because you still want to keep your Christmas shape. Your Christmas ornament shape is round. Just kind of work your brush back and forth in an arc motion. Seeing that shape come through. I'm gonna get kind of like a pinky color. Kind of looks cool. Just experimenting with color here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add just a little bit of water to it so I get like a wash of this color. I'll wash it all over the painting. Give it some areas of interest. And I want it to really pop. So I'm going to wash this pink color out of my brush. I'm going to give that a little bit to dry. I'm going to go in with some white in a little bit. While we're waiting for that to dry, I'm going to come in and make a blue, maybe a blue-green color. Add a little bit of color to the background. So another little texture. Just in certain little areas that I think might need a pop of color. So this is like a teal color we're putting in. And already you can start to see a little bit of color. It changes it dramatically. I'm going to grab a little bit of water on my brush just to kind of blend that around. There's no wrong way to do this. Just grab some colors. You can use that dry brush technique. You can hear my brush, how dry it is. And I'm just scraping it along the canvas to make a little bit of paint that's on my brush go far, far. As you can see now, we have all of these different colors on this canvas we didn't even have on our palette originally. And that makes, not only is it fun to experiment making the colors, but it's fun to look at later. And definitely want to stress that there's no wrong way to do the background. If you've left it black, good for you. You like simplicity. You know, some days I'm into simplicity too. Today was not one of those days. Today was a day for color and adventure. See what happens. We experiment. And if you get to a point where you didn't like something, part of your experiment on your canvas, you just wait for it to dry and you can go right over it, you know, all over again. And I'll show you that in just a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of this green blue color we created and just go right on in here, just make that shadow, make it look like his arm is in the sleeve. And that's a sleeve. It is not all getting the light. And I'm going to go back and touch up my Grinch hand. I'm going to get my big brush. There's an area where I Didn't do the line perfect, so come right back in again. Right over there. You can't even tell that I messed that area up. Right. We're adding in some more basic green on our layers here. You can see we're kind of bringing them in, making those drastic shadow lines kind of fade just by painting a nice little coat over them. This is where you want to show that he is furry. So you can start making that not smooth line and just making a little jagged line for his outline of his hands. That'll show that he is furry. Just little jagged edges here and there. You may want to switch to the littler brush for this that we provided. I'll show you how to do it with the littler brush. Dip right into some paint, it's loaded, and you can really start making him furry by going outside just a little bit on your finger outline here. Staying in the finger shape. The ends of his fingers are pretty furry and pointy. You definitely want to reflect that so everybody knows whose hand this is when they're looking at your final product. And you can't really mess this part up either. Just some fun little furry extras on the outside of his finger. Over here on his wrist, you can do the same thing. Some jagged edges here indicate furriness. And already it's coming to life. Right, we have our Grinch hand. Have some shadow going on. While I wait for the hand to dry, and we have our little brush, I'm going to come down here and give this little ornament our little metal gold top. Paint that in. I'll leave a little area of white on the gold just to kind of give the suggestion of where the light is hitting. I'm also going to take just a little bit of gold throughout our Christmas ball. Kind of give our Christmas ball a little bit of interesting reflection could do your whole Christmas ball gold if you wanted. You could do your whole Christmas ball purple, blue, whatever color you wanted. You could do. I'm doing some gold over the outside of it. I'm gonna rinse my big brush and come in with some red. Red is one of the colors. I just want to make sure you got good foundation. Yeah, I'm gonna color over the gold. You can still see it popping through a little. I want all of the edges, maybe just one, a little bit. You can play with the possibilities of your Christmas ball with the gold colors, with white colors, purples, blues, any color you like. I'm just gonna hang out, wait for that to dry. And I'm gonna wash the brush real good and come back in with some white going right around the edge of our Christmas ball. Not a whole lot, just a little. I still want to be able to blend it out just a tiny bit so it doesn't look like a white line. I want it to look like the Christmas ball is shiny or light is maybe glowing from behind it. I think it's magical. You can create anything in your painting, whatever you want. Don't be afraid to express yourself, to try things out. You can always paint right over it. The next layer, just like I did with the gold. I didn't like the gold. Like, it's not speaking to me. And where did it go? Right under the red. So that's always an option in your paintings. Always, always, always. Just dry brush this white on out into the other layers. You know, kind of shiny. I'm gonna clean my edges up on my Christmas ball. Get it to a nice round circle where I want it. White is a good color. It's just like an eraser. Kind of resets your canvas. Play with the shape of your Christmas ball until you figure out that it's the circle that you want. Circles are hard. So don't get discouraged if it's not perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's art. Imperfection is art. Okay, I'm going to park my big brush and get my little brush out and start adding in some outline just to make things pop out on the canvas. And when I add the outline, I don't do it the entire shape, just to give the suggestion of a shape. I'm going to come in and put our little line that this ornament is hanging by. And let's give our ornament an outline in black, just a little bit. And as you can see, my circle is not perfect. Don't panic if yours is not either. This is probably the most tedious part, we're gonna come in and outline our Grinch hand just to kind of show where some things are overlapping. You just follow the little spikies you made to show his fur, just with the black outline. I like to have different thicknesses of the black outline. It gives your eye a little bit of interesting spots to look at when they're viewing your final work of art. But if you want all the same width of line, that's your preference, but it doesn't have to be that perfect. And coming around, you can really start to see your Grinch hand popping out. Black is the best way to make things stand out, giving it a black outline. Suggestion of a black outline, even if you're not going to do every little inch of your figure that you're outlining. It kind of ties everything in, gives everything a definite place in the picture. I'm going to outline the sleeve here. Just little dabs of black paint will do. So that we have areas that it stands out. That was done. We'll put the final little spikies on this hand here. You can kind of take a look at your painting, if there's any areas that need more of your attention. Did you miss anything? Something not quite right, you want to go back and fiddle with, by all means, definitely do that. Sometimes I take like an hour, I'll lose an hour in a painting, just fiddling with an area until I like it. So definitely not a wrong thing to do. I highly encourage it. Be surprised how relaxed and beneficial that type of practice is. Getting creative. Not very often do we let our inner child out to play. We're always worried about work and getting things done and bills, and sometimes it's just okay to say, I'm gonna sit down and not worry about anything but what color I'm gonna make this Christmas ball. I get a couple more layers in this red. I'm going to add a couple of little strokes of white right into the red, just to kind of give our Christmas ball a rounder feeling. When light hits a round object, it travels around it. kind of want to reflect that on any round object that's on your canvas. Light makes everything different shade. So you have a lot of different shades of reds going on in this Christmas ball. Yeah, I think we are at a point where you could step back, look at your painting, see if there's anything you want to add, touch up. Maybe you want to soak it in and come back to it another time. There's always time to add on another layer. I want to thank you for stopping by and taking time out to create with me today. If you could, if you're adventurous enough, please share your masterpieces with us. You can hashtag Coleman Events on Instagram. You can visit us on Facebook. We have our own page, Coleman Events, and tag us in your Facebook posts. Any social media, we'd love to hear back from you, feedback, and we hope that you paint with us again soon.